About that. Charge it all afternoon. So I might be able to plug it into my laptop.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting, September 8th, 2020, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Supervisor Murray,
Here.
Councilman Smith,
Here.
Councilman Byrne,
Here.
Councilman Kiefer,
Here.
Councilman Blanford.
Here.
At this time, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation. Heavenly Father, we come to you with grateful hearts that we have the freedom to meet, to speak, and make policy. Give us wisdom and clarity in our words as we make decisions that are best for all the town, as is the oaths that we have sworn to uphold. Be with our president and all who commit to serving our country. Keep us safe as we return to our homes. Amen.
Were there any changes to the August 11th, 2020 regular meeting minutes?
I move we approve the August 11th meeting minutes.
I'll second. Roll call.
I second it.
Cindy.
Blanford,
Aye.
Byrne, Smith,
Aye.
Kiefer,
Aye.
Murray.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions.
just received this report from Gary Henry. He works for Hunt Engineering. Him, Andy Butler, and Attorney Buck met last Tuesday. So he sent an evaluation. So I'll just go through and read it. On February 25th, 2020, a visit to the Fremont Town Board was made to evaluate issues the town was experiencing with the recent replacement of the roof system. Another visit to the town barn was made on September 1st, 2020 to meet with the contractor Andy Butler and the town's attorney Richard Buck to review the work and get additional information on how the work was completed. Background: the town barn consists of 3 separate structures built adjoined to each other. The construction of the building in question is a pre-engineered metal building and is in between the other 2 structures. The original roof, based on information gathered during the meeting with Andy, was a metal roof over rigid insulation board of 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. Actual thickness is unknown, attached to metal purlins at 4 foot on center. The gauge thickness of the existing metal roofing is unknown. Given the lack of information provided to as exactly what the town required to be installed for the project, a review of the products provided and installed will be done. At this time, the information of products installed has not been provided, so the evaluation is based on visual inspection and information gathered during the on-site meetings. Issues. The primary issue is the amount of condensation inside the building that occurred after this work was complete and the roof insulation installed becoming saturated with water and falling at the eave locations. This falling insulation was attempted to be corrected by providing wood members between the purlins to hold the insulation in place. It was noted that several types of tape were used to seal the insulation seams. The compatibility of the tape and insulation are known at this time. Other issues include some concerns with the insulation of the metal roof. Along the front of the building, the end of the metal stopped just short of the edge of the building. Several screws installed to hold the roof down missed the structure below, and additional screws needed to be installed at the flue and electrical weatherhead are not installed properly. These are for photos. Condensation. The original roof had a rigid insulation board installed under the metal roofing material, providing a thermal break between the purlins and the metal roof. This continuous insulation board prevented the water vapor from condensating on the underside of the metal roof. The new insulation installed to replace the original is a blanket type batt insulation inside of a plastic material with an R value of 11. This type of insulation is typically installed in a pre-engineered metal building, and if installed properly will provide a vapor barrier and thermal performance. However, at the purlins, the insulation is compromised, reducing the thermal value significantly. Product information for the installation has not been provided to evaluate manufacturer's installation procedures. The tape seams for the insulation are falling and not adhering to the insulation. This creates large gaps in the vapor barrier, allowing moisture to get above the insulation and condensating on the underside of the metal roof. Compounding moisture and condensation inside the building is the lack of ventilation and the storage of fully loaded salt sand trucks in the winter, introducing large amounts of moisture that is not present on a regular basis. The space is heated with unit heaters and no method of bringing in an outside. The space is heated with unit heaters and no method of bringing in outside was noted. 2 exhaust fans on switches are provided on the back wall of the room. The function of these appears to be to vehicle exhaust systems. Energy code requires that when a roof is replaced, the roof insulation is exposed. The insulation should be brought up to current code requirements. The current energy code requires a R25 plus R11 linear system for a roof on a pre-engineered metal building located in Climate Zone 6. Eliminating the condensation in the building completely will involve several changes to the space. The insulation installed will need to be properly sealed to prevent moisture from migrating above the metal roof. At this time, it is not known if the insulation installed provides a vapor barrier. If a vapor barrier needs to be installed, additional insulation should be installed to comply with energy code requirements. A retrofit insulation system similar to the one found on this web link should be considered. A proper ventilation system should be installed to deal with the added moisture provided by the salt sand trucks in the winter. When on site, it was mentioned that the town was considering removing the insulation installed and installing a spray foam insulation system. Although this is a viable solution, these types of systems are not recommended for use on pre-engineered metal buildings because they can trap moisture between the insulation and metal structure, causing corrosion that would go undetected until a failure occurs. If this roof is to be replaced in the future, the use of insulated metal panels should be considered. Roof edge extension. The edge of the metal roof should extend past the edge of the building, allowing the water to drop into the gutter. With the edge of the roof installed short of the edge of the roof, it allows for the possibility of water running back into the building through capillary action. It is unclear if this has contributed to the insulation falling along the front of the building or not. To correct this, a portion of the metal roof will need to be removed up to the first purling, and then new metal installed with the proper edge overhang and overlap to new existing roofing. Excess screws in roof. Several locations have screws installed that missed the purling structure below. These screws were left in place with additional screws installed adjacent, properly attached. These screws that have missed the structure do not set properly and do not seal. They have been covered with silicone sealant to prevent water infiltrating in these locations. Although this is an unfortunate and unsightly condition, they appear to have been sealed properly. However, it is recommended that these be visually inspected on a regular basis to make sure they remain sealed. Flue flashing. The existing metal flashing at the flue was reused and appears to not properly fit with the new roofing. Typically, these types of flashing would need to be replaced with the roof, ensuring that a proper contour and fit was provided. In this case, the existing was reused. Old fastener holes were filled with sealant. The flashing was bent to fit the new contour of the roofing, creating breaks in the metal, and existing amounts of sealant was used. A similar condition occurs at the electric weather service head. It is recommended that these two penetrations to the roof be corrected with proper flashing for the roof. If these are left in place, it is recommended that they be visually inspected on a regular basis to make sure they remain sealed. Other recommendations. The gutter along the back of the building is in poor conditions and should be replaced. In addition to this, the trees along the back of the building should be removed to prevent them from filling with debris. The gutter along the front of the building is mostly clear but needs to be cleaned. So there it is.
So did Andy Butler agree to fix any of it, or how did that go?
I just got this report at
Okay, so we
6
don't
o'clock
know.
tonight, so I'm sure he'll be sending it to Andy.
So we might as well table it till next month.
What do you guys think about his proposals?
A lot of things wrong there.
You know,
It's wrong, I mean, the whole system is in bad shape. The gutter system in the back, in the front, whatever, that wasn't brought up in the original, that's something we'll have to eat. Because it's in the back of the building, it's gone.
Yeah, it's been gone a long
Yeah,
time.
we saw that when we were up there. The main concern is the main part of the roof, and we discussed it, and it needs to be repaired or replaced and done the right way. Period.
So do we want Andy to make those fixes, or do we want to hire someone else to replace the whole front?
I guess we should see if he's gonna offer anything. I mean, the code guy from what I understand, said the whole roof needed to be replaced. He's already said here at the meeting he wasn't gonna do that, so.
We haven't gotten anything from Buck yet, right?
Well, this is from Hunt Engineering, so they're gonna go by what he said.
But we don't have any, like, was this going to him? Like this was going to him and then he
Yeah.
would recommend to us, or?
We're probably gonna go by what he said, and this is gonna be, if we go to court, this is
I mean, there's
his
a lot
recommendation.
of damning stuff in there, really.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we've been saying.
Yeah, but we got it officially now.
Yeah,
for-
exactly.
Yeah.
And, time is getting short for this year. By all means, unless there is some company out there that's able to come in and do that in a record amount of time.
I think we should look up the insulation that he recommended, that retrofit.
Well,
That would go with the person who's gonna put the roof on. I'm excited if it's for a year.
I mean, we should at least hear what Mr. Buck has to say, if this betters the court case or not,
Okay.
don't you think? And that gives Andy Butler 30 days to respond also. And did we ever get a report from the code officer with his, an official report from him that we
No.
probably should have something from him stating that the whole roof should be replaced?
I don't remember getting anything in writing, Tom,
Yeah.
but we could.
I mean, I'm just thinking if it goes to court.
Well, I understand.
Yeah, we should have
No,
something.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I agree with you,
Mhm.
but,
Well, we should probably send this report to him as well, so he can see it, code before time.
I mean, if you have to go up there on the roof and check all these screws that are missed and all that stuff, you're gonna be doing more damage to the roof than you are if you had it done and put down properly. I mean, that's what we talked about before, what we were doing, so.
That's kind of the idea, getting a roof repair and moving the roof, right, so we don't have to do that part time. And we're kind of right back in the same position.
And the insulation, I went up and I reached up through where there was a hole and I found no vapor barrier above. There was nothing. And it says in here, he didn't know for sure, but the compression of the purlins and stuff kills that thermal break.
Well, it bends it and probably lets
Yeah,
air up there.
yeah, well, just compress it to where you don't have it. I mean, it's next to, like putting a sheet of paper between the roof deck and the purlins.
It looks like the only thing that the engineer agreed with Andy Butler, he had mentioned something about shoving the metal roofing underneath there. He's basically, sounds like he was agreeing with that, taking it up to the first purling. That's about the only thing that looked in there that he agreed with Andy Butler on. But still, who's gonna go up and check the roof every year?
Well, that's it.
And all the
That's what
flashing.
that's what Andy Butler tried to tell the town board that I had told him to go ahead and do, which I have not done that. We had talked about it, but we had not done it. And I had the authorization to do that anyway. I mean, that's gotta come from the town board as a whole. It can't come just from me.
I mean, if this thing goes to court, isn't that gonna be resolved right away?
How bad's it leaking, Jeff?
If the wind don't blow, it's just a steady rain, it's fine. If the wind blows a little bit, it blows it back underneath the, either on the rear or the front, it blows it underneath the metal.
It's that front.
Will you have a response from Andy by the time we have our workshop? That's an
We should.
advertised meeting, why not?
Yeah, that's 2 weeks away.
Why can't we?
Vote on it then.
Sure,
Yeah, why don't we table it till then?
till the 23rd.
We should
I
have
make
a-
a motion that we.
I'll
table
second
this.
it. Roll call.
You seconded, I'm sorry.
I second.